This is a short video over the principles of the Constitution. So remember, the Constitution is the document that sets the rules for our government and basically outlines the tasks that our government is supposed to undertake. The first principle of the Constitution is popular sovereignty. So, this word popular, again, it means people, it means population, and this word sovereign or sovereignty, that means power or the right to rule. So, in America, we say that the government gets its power from the consent of the governed. And in other words, that means the government gets its consent and gets its power from people. The second principle of the Constitution is called republicanism. And so this word republic, it's not like a political party, but what it means is that we have a form of government where we elect representatives. And so a way that I remember this is I say, okay, here is REP representatives, and then here is REP republicanism. And so I just want to be clear that this is separate from the political parties, the Democrats, and the Republicans. The third principle is limited government. So this means that our government has limits. And the way the Constitution is written, it's written that the powers of the federal government were limited specifically to those provided in the Constitution. So in America, the government cannot do whatever it wants. It can only do what the Constitution says it is allowed to do. And so this is a specific task of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court basically judges on what the government is allowed and what it is not allowed to do. The fourth principle of the Constitution is called federalism. And so in America, we have the federal government, that's the national government, and then we have state governments. And so in America, the way the Constitution is written, the powers are divided between the federal government, the national government, and the state governments. It's also shared with local governments. The fifth principle is separation of powers. And so in America, remember, we fought a revolution because we didn't want to be ruled by an all-powerful king. And so the framers thought, how can we prevent one person from getting too much power or one group from getting too much power? So what they did is they said, oh, let's divide this power. And so they divided the power into three branches: the legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch. The powers are also separated by that principle of federalism that we just discussed between the state governments and the federal government, and also local governments. Another principle of the Constitution is individual rights or amendments. And so in the original text of the Constitution, there was no such thing as this Bill of Rights that was protecting the rights and freedoms of individuals, that said the government cannot take these away. And so before the Constitution was approved, they wrote these first 10 amendments or changes or additions to the Constitution that actually said the government is not allowed to take these freedoms away. And finally, the last principle of the Constitution is called checks and balances. So a lot of people will connect this to separation of power, but checks and balances is a little bit different because it says that in order to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful, is that you're going to give one branch the power to check the other branches. So, for example, Congress might be able to impeach a president. The president might be able to veto a law that's passed by Congress, and the Supreme Court might be able to say that a law passed by Congress is unconstitutional.